Hello, this is Zestology, and today I'm not out and about, but I'm inside in what is definitely my favourite hack at the moment. The Sunlight and Sauna, an infrared sauna, which can help with all sorts of things, from detox to relaxation to anti-aging to weight loss and pain relief and everything else. But the reason I'm kind of getting quite excited, and I'm still kind of quite new to the world of infrared saunas, so I'm still working out what it can do. But one of the things that I'd been told that it could help with was sleep. And so I got in here last night about kind of 7:30 at night, and it is lovely when it's a kind of a cold, damp, late autumnal day in London, and you get into a lovely, warm infrared sauna. And I got in here, I spent about half an hour in here. There is a screen in here with Netflix, so it's not too bad. But what excited me was that afterwards I just felt knackered. And it was about kind of 8:30 at night. I'm not normally ready for bed so early, but I was actually thinking, I've got to try and keep my eyes open until 9, otherwise I really am going to bed early. Managed to stay awake until about 9 o'clock and had a lovely, deep sleep. And as you know, sleep is one of the main themes on Zestology. If you can get sleep right, then that's kind of quite good. So yeah, today's podcast is brought to you by Sunlight and Saunas. As I say, I'm only just kind of getting to grips with it myself. But I'm pretty thrilled to be able to try it out and to kind of work out how infrared could help me. I'm definitely going to kind of get onto the detoxification and the anti-aging stuff as well. Definitely encourage you to look up Sunlight and online. I'm going to post a cheesy photo of me in here, but I'm going to spare you too much of my naked torso. I'll try and kind of do it shoulders up. And if you are interested in getting involved with Sunlight, you can mention Zestology and get £200 or $200 off. So it's a very nice place to record a podcast intro. And today's guest is someone who is used to these kind of temperatures, because Brett Moran does not live in London but lives in Thailand. And you might have heard the podcast that I recorded with him in Thailand, one of my favourites. He's a definite friend of the show. And in the last couple of weeks, he was back in London, came to stay the night here. It was just so nice to see him. Brett is somebody who, he's well known because he's an author, he's a yoga teacher, he holds big events. And he's kind of very inspiring. But just spending time in his company makes you feel inspired as well. And I think this podcast is going to make you feel inspired too. So here he is, as always, Brett Moran, updating us with what's been going on. And one of the things I love about Brett is he's very happy to celebrate his wins and his successes, but he's very honest about the things which don't go so well, and that makes him far more authentic and more real. And he talks about both in this podcast. So I'm going to leave you with Brett Moran, and I'm going to carry on relaxing in this Sunlight and Sauna. And I wonder if tonight's sleep is as good as last night's. And by the way, on the sleep, I checked my Oura Ring stats, and they were pretty impressive, so I'm feeling pretty refreshed today. Okay, here he is, Brett Moran on Zestology. Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, mate.
Yeah. We've I've had 4 hours 45 of sleep, according to my Oura Ring. I hope you got a bit more.
According to your what?
My Oura Ring.
Okay, got you.
Ring that tracks you. Yeah.
You said your aura ring.
Yeah, my aura. Yeah.
The spiritual guides are talking to Tony already.
Yeah, my Oura Ring is quite something. So you were obviously in our spare room. I hope you weren't too kept awake by the baby.
No, it was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah, I think I heard him this morning, like maybe super early.
Oh, man,
and then but it was cute. It was really cute.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to say that because I haven't got him all day.
Yeah.
So I can imagine when you're a parent.
It is cute when he wakes up though, because he's like, it's happy noises. It's kind of, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a really good sound effect, mate.
Anyway, what was quite nice was the fact that you and I brought him down and we put him in what could kindly be called his kind of bouncer, what some people call the wheel of neglect, because you can put him in it. There's so much to amuse him that he just like gets on with it. Okay. And we meditated for 10 minutes, didn't we? It was really nice.
Yeah.
And I think that actually worked really well on him because he seemed very chilled out afterwards.
Yeah.
What were we doing at the start with the breath? Just describe that to me, because it was like nostrils and breathing, and I almost felt like I'd taken a mild stimulant
Like it's
afterwards.
high.
Yeah.
It's called alternative nostril breathing. So Nadi Shodhana is the Sanskrit word in yoga, and you literally place your right thumb over your right nostril, your 2 peace fingers on your forehead or in between your eyebrow, and then your ring finger on the left nostril, and you breathe up one side while you close one nostril. Then you close the opposite nostril, breathe out the other side, and you just keep on doing it. Now, according to the yoga system, we've got lots of energy systems, or energy lines. They're called nadis. That's why it's called Nadi Shodhana. And you're purifying these energy systems, allowing the energy to balance out the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the brain. But like you, I just get a buzz out of it at the end of it. And if anybody's new to meditation, or they struggle to meditate, or even if their mind is very busy, for a lot of my clients, I find this is probably one of the best techniques to reduce anxiety, stress, and to get the mind just centered. And so even if they don't want to meditate, and you are having panic or an overwhelm, your office, and something's going on at work, and you just need to quickly, this breathing exercise, 2 minutes, and you're back in the zone.
Yeah, it's quite weird.
So calming.
I've heard it before, and I think I've probably done it before, but I genuinely got a bit of a buzz afterwards.
And again, it's really great if you want to do meditation. Like I do that for 5 minutes. I set my alarm for 5 minutes in the morning, breathing up one nostril, breathing out. Then I put the alarm on for 20 minutes and go straight into a meditation. And I've been meditating for years, and that's like really helped me get in the zone a lot quicker. But yeah, yogis.
I really enjoyed it during it though.
You didn't enjoy it during it?
No.
Was your mind busy or?
I felt a bit blocked up and maybe a bit busy, but the moment I stopped, I was like, I just had a nice little wave of happiness there.
Well, I've never drunk coffee, so that's my shot of coffee in the morning.
Right.
But the yogis, you go to India, they'll be doing that for like an hour. That's their. Some of them don't even do the physical practice now.
Yeah.
Because you like you say, you get into that mind state. You're like, wow. So they don't even use the body. They just use the practical pranayama, the vital energy force.
Yeah.
They'll do that for an hour. Just breathe it. My arm kills me after 5 minutes. I don't know how to do it for an hour.
Yeah.
But they're like breathing like that, and they're gone. But you can understand why, because like for a few minutes, I'm like, wow, buzz. Like my head is completely clear. I think it gets rid of the cobwebs in the brain.
Yeah.
That's what I find.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is a form of practice all on its own, isn't it?
You could do that for 5 minutes every morning, and I guarantee in like 2 weeks you'd notice a difference in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I ever tell you that I know you've just run a tantric retreat. Did I ever tell you I did that white tantric yoga day?
I think you did, but remind everybody listening.
So basically, there's like this thing travels all over the world, and there's they've got a huge following, and everyone wears white, and they did it in Kensington Town Hall here, and there were probably about 1,000 people.
Oh no, you ain't told me about this one.
Yeah, and it's good. They put lines down. They put lines down the middle of the carpet, all the way down this massive room, and all the men sit on one side and all the women sit on the other side. Although you can go in a same-sex couple, or you can go with a friend or whatever if you want. I went with this girl that I'd met once, and I kind of fancied.
Oh, that's why you went, Tony.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And she said, look, do you want to come to this thing? And I was like, yeah, great. So you do all these different exercises, and it's super intense. Nearly all the exercises last 63 minutes.
Yeah.
And it all involves looking into each other's eyes all day.
Yeah.
Well, we just don't spend all day looking into each other's eyes. And like, I remember like she was in floods of tears at one point. I was crying. It was like so kind of revealing and emotional. But the thing that made me think of it was, you were saying that your arm starts to hurt after 5 minutes. Some of these exercises were like, because first you're sitting cross-legged all day, which is bloody uncomfortable for me. I can sit cross-legged for about half an hour, and then my hips hurt and my bum hurts and everything hurts. Yeah. But then you like, some of them were like, you'd be sitting. They'd say, okay, the next exercise is sit across from your partner and put your forefinger in the centre of their forehead, just between their eyes, and hold it there for 63 minutes. Let's begin. And after about 10 minutes, everyone's like propping up their arm with the other arm, and it's absolute agony. And you're like, fucking hell, I've still got 53 minutes to go, and I don't even know how long there is to go because there's no clock. And sometimes they're playing music, sometimes it's silent. Anyway, incredible experience.
Would you do it again?
I would. I'd love to do it with Faith now. Yeah. I'd love to do it with someone, like do it with
someone like me.
Yeah.
Will you put your finger on my third eye for an hour?
It'd be very. I tell you what, it'd be very uncomfortable doing it with you.
Yeah.
It'd be very uncomfortable doing it with anyone because it's so revealing.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be nice doing it with your partner.
Yeah.
It was actually really nice doing it with this girl, Diana, that I'd only met once. But it was are kind of weird as well.
Yeah. You're exposing all the stuff in the head, right? You'll see the ego is becoming more vulnerable, and you're seeing beyond all the stories and patterns in the brain.
Yeah.
You know, we just done this tantra retreat, and that was the main core of it. A lot of people think tantra is sex, and we were joking about it last time.
Yeah.
There was no sex, and there's none of that stuff. It was really about deep, intimate connections. You don't need to be in a relationship with somebody, but just to expose the beliefs and stories you've got around, because we're never really seeing each other as we are. We're always seeing each other through filters. You know, whether you're looking at a woman in a certain way, you're looking at through the filters in your head, or whether a friend or a judgment, or you're looking at people's behaviours. So I like these workshops because it's just like, boom, I'm looking in we don't do 63 minutes, we do like 5-minute eye gazing.
Amazing.
But that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
5 minutes and people are like, oh my God. And you can just see people fidgeting.
Yeah.
And what that's a sign of is like their egos are like feeling either exposed or judged, or they're judging, and vice versa. So yeah, it's amazing. I can imagine 63 minutes though might be a bit too long for me, if I'm honest. Yeah.
I mean, it was really weird because you felt like after a while of looking into someone else's eyes, you almost felt like you just needed a break for a moment to look away. It's just so odd.
But you go in London, like you jump on the train, like no one wants to look at you.
No.
I'm only here for a couple of days, but and it's just a clear observation. It's like we're just looking the other way.
Well, is that obviously you're over? I'll probably explain everything in the intro, but you know, you're a proper friend of the show on the podcast. You've been over loads of times. We recorded podcasts in Thailand, and that's where you live.
Yeah.
And you're over for a few days, and you're flying back tonight.
Yeah.
Is that not the case in Thailand too, or do people actually look at each other in Thailand?
I think the Thai people, I think they're just really present.
Yeah.
And I think that's because it's a Buddhist culture.
Yeah.
So they will stand there and look at you and talk to you, and they just seem very clear. So I don't think there's a lot of judgment going on.
Yeah.
But then again, where I live, Koh Phangan, it's like tantra, yogi, vegan island. So everybody's like, you know, trying to outstare each other. Like, hey man, I can eye gaze longer than you can eye gaze. And then sometimes it's a bit
over a vegan cookie in some cafe in Thailand
without any palm sugar. So for me, it's got it all going on. It's a paradise. But I think that is because it is attracting people that are there, that are more open maybe, and that want to start to eye gaze, and that want to kind of break down these barriers of the ego, because you can see a clear difference between cultures. And I took my mum to the tantra workshop, the one that I just ran. She came with me, and that was probably the most beautifulest thing, if I'm honest. You know, me and my mum are connected in newer ways. Like, we're at home, we'll watch a film, we'll have a bit of food, and you know, we're mum and daughter. I was going to say mum and son, but then she's at one of my tantra workshops, and she's got her eye gaze, and she's got to run around and do the exercises, and it was just so beautiful to see that for my mum. Like, that's probably one of the best things I got from that weekend. Obviously, I love helping people and I run it, but just seeing my mum actually get a taste of that, I was like, wow. And it's so easy sometimes to judge people in London that they're not looking, but it's like, if you don't know it and you're just living in a society or a system which is completely full on, then it is odd to look at somebody's eyes or just sit there and just touch a mate and just like, it's like, oh, what's all this about? So it makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
That must have been amazing with your mum.
It was beautiful.
Like, just a chance to connect in a different way.
So beautiful. I think the best thing I've ever got out of yoga is adjusting my mum and my daughter.
Really?
Yeah, because you just touch people in a different way and you're just trying to assist them. It's like, oh, okay, you hug, you cuddle, but it's just something different. Can't really explain it in words.
What you talk about the ego, I know what you were doing in your retreat is very different from this white tantric yoga day. Anyway, we had to all wear white, and we had to so that was a challenge in it first. Like, I had to bloody go to Lily White's and buy a white tracksuit, but then also you had to cover your hair. Yeah, and I know I don't want to put people off doing a workshop like yours, because I know this is like way more hardcore, but I like trying all these different things.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, so I had to basically get what can only be described as a tubey grip and wrap it around my hair, like a white tubey grip, and wrap it around my hair. Though. Yeah, I know, but you're still supposed to wear white on your head. And then beforehand, I thought, well, I better take it, selfie just to kind of mark the occasion. You're not allowed phones in the actual hall, so went to the toilet and took a selfie, and I looked like a giant condom.
I'm ready.
So talk about the ego. You got to leave that behind when you look like a giant condom.
Yeah, you really have, mate. And touching someone's head with a finger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it sounds like your retreat then went really well. And you got another one coming up, haven't you? And that's not tantra, but that's more of like a yoga.
Acro yoga and meditation. That's in Vakasa in November the 3rd till the 10th.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if this is going to go out before or after that. But,
I was like plugging there when I was getting quick plug.
Yeah. Well, no, don't worry. We'll do that on the newsletter next week. But so you're only over here for a few days.
Mm-hmm. No, I've been here for a few weeks.
Oh right. Yeah. But this is your last day.
Yes,
How do you feel about going back then?
My mum always says that. We were saying earlier when we
Yeah.
went just for a walk, like, do you get excited about going back or do you look forward to things? And I know it's such a cliche, but I really try and practice that middle way.
Yeah.
And just don't. I probably will get excited
Yeah.
when I get to Heathrow and sit on the plane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going back now.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm not really living in the moment. I'm kind of like at my mum's, but I'm looking forward to going back. So I try, like the Buddhism, they try and teach you to live in the middle way. Like, you get excited when you're in the moment rather than 3 weeks before. And when the moment's finished, you're not like wishing you were still in the moment. So you can live more mindfully. So I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it. It's just, I'm just getting on with it. But when I'm on the plane, I'll be like a child, like, yes, I'm going back, you know?
It's interesting because I know that obviously you came to stay last night and we were talking about your life in Thailand. I know you do a lot of the kind of things that we've done this morning. We've done a bit of the breath work, the breathing and the, what was it called?
Nadi Shodhana, alternative nostril breathing.
Yeah, and meditation. And one of the moments last night, I think after I cooked you, wanted to make you feel at home, so I made you a Thai red curry.
It's good.
And I realised he probably has quite a lot of Thai red curries in his life, but anyway.
Just get me ready for it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of the moments I felt almost a bit jealous of your life. I don't feel particularly materialistic, but when you said that you don't really have any bills, that's a lovely minimalist way to live. When you have to worry about all sorts of things coming out of your account. I mean, you just don't have that many bills to worry about?
I have no bills whatsoever. Yeah, so I used to have an O2 phone and they get you into a 2-year contract, and that just finished, I think, about 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, and that was the last proper bill I had. So yeah, I've got no bills whatsoever. My rent, I think I told you yesterday, my rent is like about £1,500 or £1,200 every 6 months. So I pay that up front every 6 months, which is the little house on the beach.
I've been there. It's
lovely. It's amazing.
A little 1-bed house by the beach. Isn't it?
Yeah. So that's my main outgoing, and then food. So I eat out every night, which is like 100 baht, which is 2-3 quid now, depending on the exchange rate. I haven't got to wash up. I've got no plates. I've got 1 plate and 1 cup, and I just make a smoothie in that in the morning. It's very.
What about? I mean, I think about some of the bills that I've got. Spotify, do you pay for that?
No, I haven't got Spotify.
No.
But I've just learned a lot about wealth and money, and I'm not there where I'd like to be, but I've realised I had to get rid of all my old patterns and my old habits and my old limiting beliefs. And a lot of the stuff they did was get you to cancel all of these kind of credit cards, like pay everything off as quick as you can. Don't have, when I actually looked at, like, I had not Netflix, I had like iTunes, I had this. I'm like, that's like nearly 100 and something quid. It was just all little £10 subscription fees. So I just deleted everything. Yeah, and I haven't missed none of them, not at all. Yeah.
Haven't you?
Not one, no. So it's just nice not to have a
because
bill.
before Netflix existed, before iTunes existed,
right?
we were all right, weren't we?
Yeah. Even before mobile phones.
Yeah.
Sometimes now what I like to do is go somewhere without the mobile phone, so you have to use your brain to find it. So like yesterday when I was coming here, I never had the internet because I've got to tie chips. I've got no internet while I'm here. I just use people's Wi-Fi. Right?
I know, because I sent you a few messages saying, what time are you coming? I could tell they hadn't even been delivered.
I didn't even read them. But it was nice. I know it's not that far, but I never had a clue where your house was from the train station.
Yeah.
And then there's a little map in the train station. I took a photo, and it was like a little event. I met 2 people walking down the road. I said, excuse me, do you know where a certain road is?
Yeah.
Turns out we're standing on that road.
Yeah.
All these little, I'm like, otherwise I'd have just been looking at my app and just followed this blue dot to your house. Which is cool, but sometimes it's just nice to get off of it. So whether it's a bill or whether it's the phone, I'm always just being a bit more mindful. Since I've been here, if I'm honest, I've been on it a lot more. So the environment's important, I think.
But this is interesting, though, because I think our brains are changing, aren't they?
Yeah,
like the way that we actually think.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you take a picture of a map and then follow that map.
Yeah.
And I can't get in the car and go anything without like a Waze or Google Maps now, because it's a life changer, and it spots the traffic, and it genuinely saves you time. But it means your brain works in such different ways.
I think it's a little. I don't know if that's the right word, but maybe it can be making us a little bit lazy as well, because the brain loves patterns, right?
Yeah.
So it's easier to make everything patterns. And I think if you're following the blue dot, for example, on the map, just that's one example of many ways, and you're just following that, you then, I wouldn't have spoke to that person, I wouldn't have asked that person for directions, I wouldn't have done all the little things. I'd have to, you're using a brain. I think you're using the brain in a different way. Something happened to me amazing a few months back. My laptop died.
Oh yeah.
And so first of all, there's that initial, I haven't got a laptop, what am I going to do? I'm living in Copenhagen, it's different over there to get your laptop fixed, it's an Apple, and I'm like, and then I went and handed it into the shop, and he's like, it's going to cost like 400 quid to get a new screen. I'm like, do I want to spend that? Shall I just wait till I get to England, because I was coming home this time? And all this stuff was going on. I was like, you know what, just hand it over. And I just handed it over, gave it to the guy. He kept it for like 3 weeks. So everyone was like, oh my God, you haven't got that. I stopped. I didn't do nothing, Tone. I answered emails on my mobile phone a couple of times a week. I just, if you follow me on social media, you probably notice I haven't been that active. It was like getting my life back. And I would say that I had created a really great way of not being so addicted to it as much as the average person, say, living in the city. But even that really opened my eyes to how much my brain had been lazy and just depended on that computer, and how much I was on it, even thinking that I'd cut off. Anyway, long story short, I really wanted to carry on writing my book. So I got a pen and a paper, went old school, went and bought loads of little A4 sheets of paper. Actually, not a pen, a pencil. I bought a little sharpener, a little rubber, and I went and sat on this beautiful place overlooking the Gulf of, where I live, like the ocean of Thailand. And I'm just sitting there looking down in this little restaurant, no one about, and I'm just using pen and paper. And then I was telling my friend about it. She said, apparently, when you're typing, your brain can only be activated, and I don't know the number, like say 30 times. There's only 30 patterns that you can use that keyboard or something like that. When you start to use pen and paper again, it's something like 300 times. And I was like, don't quote me on that kind of study or quote, whatever. But I was like, it made sense because my creativity, my visualization, because I'm writing about scenes of a movie or pictures of a life, the brain changed. And I experienced that personally myself. So I don't know about the study and what the number is, but sitting down with a pen and paper, rather than using that computer, I didn't even want to go and get my laptop back. I left it for another week. I was like, I don't need it. I honestly didn't need it.
Because once you get it back, you're back in it, aren't you?
Exactly. Yeah. But I've made a vow that I'm going to go back and keep writing pen and paper. And then as well, it actually made my writing a little bit better, because when you're writing on a laptop, you can go and delete it. You've got red lines that says it's spelling wrong. Yeah. When you've got a pen and paper, every word counts, because you can't keep deleting it and rubbing it out. So I think that's just one example of how lazy my brain has become, because it's easy on the keyboard. I had to start thinking again, and it started to activate a different part of my brain, like creativity.
See, this is why I quite often talk about technology on this podcast, and technology that might kind of relate to hacking one's kind of performance in some way, kind of getting more out of yourself. Yeah. But one of the reasons that I think that technology can work really well, and the main reason that I'm attracted to a lot of tech, is to actually take us back to a more natural state. So for example, you've been staying up in our spare room, and we've got one of those Juve lights in there, and on a dull, cloudy, autumnal morning like it is in London right now, you can sit in front of that and you feel like you're on the beach in Thailand.
Mate, it's
amazing.
Exactly what I thought when I put it on last night. It was like bright light.
And another bit of tech I've been talking about recently, certainly in my newsletter, I don't know if I've mentioned it in the podcast or not, but there's more than one company making phones now, but the most famous is the Light phone. Have you heard of the Light phone?
No.
Basically, it's a cool, small phone that works very well, but hardly does anything.
Okay.
So it's for people like you and I who realise that actually we're at our best when we're not in front of screens.
Yeah.
And we don't need all the extra bits on our phone.
Yeah.
But we're just slightly too addicted to actually put it away without a little bit of help. So it does, I think the Light phone does calls, texts, maps, and maybe one or two other things. Certainly doesn't do Tinder or WhatsApp or anything else. If you want that, you're going to have to sit in front of your computer. So when you're out and about, you're actually living your life.
Yeah.
This Light phone, and these Light phones are actually quite expensive. They look very stylish.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool, because I think the fact that it looks good, the screen is a bit like a Kindle screen. It's kind of like an ink display.
Yeah.
But that means more people are going to try this as a statement. But actually what they're doing is they're making a statement that they want to reconnect with actual life.
Yeah.
And it is very, very hard to do, because these apps are so addictive, aren't they?
Yeah. We were just talking about it this morning. I was sitting with a friend yesterday or the day before, and I'm not exaggerating, probably between 10 or 20 times in our 3 or 4 hour conversation, she picked up the phone to show me an example of what she was talking about, whether it was a post on Instagram or a conversation she was having, whether it was some place that she wanted to go and travel, she wanted to show me the pictures. And again, I love it. I love technology. I think it's amazing. But I do find when I come back here, the connection sometimes with people, obviously not with you, it's a breath of fresh air sitting with you last night talking, because there was no phones and we're just fully engaged and talking, But sometimes it's like, I think it's a habit. Maybe it's an addiction. I don't know. You just look at your phone. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. You show each other. But that kind of, you lose connection a little bit. You cut that conversation
out. It breaks
out.
it, doesn't it?
It breaks it, yeah.
Because firstly, they've got to kind of snap out of the conversation for a moment while they find the thing that they want to illustrate the conversation with. Secondly, in that moment that they've picked up their phone, if there's any kind of notification on the home screen, they will scan it, maybe almost instantaneously, but part of their brain will go to a different place to register it, process it, and the connection is lost. I would also much rather that if you're telling me about an amazing experience in Thailand, I would actually rather you just told me rather than show me videos or pictures.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. The power of language cannot describe it any better than a video.
Yeah.
Because also videos of amazing things are 10 a penny on the internet now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what's really important is someone's personal experience of a particular
good
event.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the real attractions. Just interrupting this podcast to tell you that it is brought to you by Sunlighten Saunas, and I'm sitting in one right now. There's loads of different programs you can use to help you detox, relax, use for anti-aging, or even for a cardio kind of workout. There's weight loss and pain relief as well, which is quite good for me at the moment because having a small baby, you keep picking him up and putting him down, and for some reason my back's just a little bit dodgy at the moment, so I'm enjoying the pain relief one at the moment. It's also a very nice way to enjoy the English winter, or indeed the American winter, or wherever you are in the world, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere. Just escape the cold for a few minutes and come and sit in the sauna. So yeah, infrared saunas, it's the absolute gold standard of saunas. And once I've finished recording this advert, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be switching off and putting on Netflix on the screen in this sauna, which is, I mean, all the things that the sauna can do. It's kind of a little added extra really, but it's just so cool being able to watch Netflix in the sauna. So if you fancy getting involved with infrared saunas, I know it's not cheap, but you know, especially if you're kind of looking to boost your energy levels, very relevant to this podcast, Sunlighten Saunas might be something you want to look into, and you can use the code Zestology for £200 or $200 off. That's it for now. Back to the podcast. Now, here we are in West London, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. I really love it. But there is part of me, the hippie part, and probably the part of my partner Faith, that would love to just live by the beach with no bills.
Yeah.
And you've got that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And when you think about 10 years, 15 years down the line, do you ever think about that, or do you just kind of take it as it goes? I mean, would you like to stay there? Do you have particular ambitions? Or are you so in the moment that you don't really bother?
Well, to be really honest, you know, I love where I live, and that's my dream or goal or whatever it is, ambition is to build a place there and just, you know, continue doing what I'm there. But I don't think I've got that drive or that kind of hunger that I used to have when I was younger. Like, I'm going to smash it, I'm going to do this. Something's really changed in me in the last sort of year, even since we first started talking and podcasting. So it's there, and it's what I like to do. But then even, you know, I came here and I was like last night, I laid to bed, I was like, oh, it's a lovely family, you've got a nice house, you've got your son, you've got your partner. And so I think it's like, I think the ego, I think because I know that's not me, but the ego, it's like it always wants sometimes what somebody else has got, or it always like compares, or it does this. And even if I'm sitting on the beach, I probably won't say that tomorrow when I'm on the beach drinking coconuts, but I still have those moments where I'm like, oh, I wonder where I will be in 10 years, because if I keep doing that, I'm not going to have like a mortgage or that sort of lifestyle. Does that make sense? Yeah. So yeah, I have those more. I don't think I'd ever give it up. I think once you've had, Einstein said, once the mind's expanded, it can never go back to its original form. Yeah. And so for me, once I've had like a year out travelling, I don't think I could ever go back.
Well, there's someone at the front door, but we're all right. It's quite good, this podcast, because we just don't know how long it's going to be, because Stan might wake up at any moment.
Yeah, it's quality, just crack on. You got him on the podcast yet?
He's made a few guest appearances.
Cool.
Like, I've done a couple of podcasts when he was really young and massively kicking off in the background, and it is so distracting. You can't concentrate on anything.
Just give him a laptop to play on.
Yeah. Give him a screen.
Give him a screen, it'll be fine.
Well, apparently there are programs made for babies his age. I mean, we haven't shown him any of them, but like, he's really stimulated anyway by just you know, sitting in that bouncer with a toy octopus in front of him. He doesn't need a screen with loads of bright lights on it.
No, there's a lot
to
going
be
on
honest,
there.
I notice if I'm sitting on the sofa, and you realise the addictiveness of kind of, you know, lights and screens for humans, because if I've got, say, Sky News on in the background or something, he will be glued to it.
Yeah.
He will be glued, and you know, I don't think he's interested in Brexit. It's just the lights and the colours and the visual
stimulating the brain.
Stimulation of it. The brain, you do always want what you haven't got, haven't you? And I think, like, because I'm sure a lot of people listen to this and think, oh, I'd love to live in Thailand.
Yeah.
But so it's nice to know that every once in a while you think, oh, it'd be quite nice to live in Chiswick.
Once a year. Once a year I get it. When I come to see you.
Yeah.
No, but you've got a great life, great family, beautiful family. It's amazing.
Thanks,
yeah.
mate.
So,
Thank you.
And I think everybody just thinks a little bit, I've got this, but what would it be like with that?
Mate, just before we finish, we were looking on my prompting last night at your Amazon page for your book.
Yeah.
You got loads of reviews for that now for Wake the Fuck Up.
Yeah.
It's done brilliantly, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's done good. Yeah.
I just want to point people to it again
Nice one.
because remember when I first met you and heard the title, I thought that's a bit bold.
Yeah.
Wake the fuck up. Wow. And actually, it's all about your story from going to prison and meditation and kind of turning your life around and getting off drugs. Is that right as well?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and it's resonated with people, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think the best thing I get from it is like even these 2 years or 3 years later since it was published, like even last week, I get messages from people that have read the book and they really feel like it's helped them or impact them, the message or the techniques. I've just shared stuff that I've learned to change my life. It's not my stuff. I've just passed it on basically. And it's just beautiful just to see that people are taking control of their lives or understanding their ego or giving up some addictions a little bit. Yeah, that to me is that's the money spinner. Yeah.
And something that I ask everyone on the podcast, I asked you loads of times before, and I meant to ask you at the start of the podcast. In fact, it was going to be the first thing that I asked you about, is you've been reading a book by a presidential candidate,
yes,
haven't you? So for the one book that you recommend, maybe you could talk about that one.
100%. Yeah, it's called A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson.
Yeah.
And it really is talking about, there's only two, if you really focus or think about it in her way, there's only two emotions or feelings, and they are fear or love. And fear can come in many different disguises. It can be, insecurities, jealousies, obsessions, addictions, all this stuff, judgments about yourself or other people, or there's just love, which is just bliss. It's freedom, it's joy, it's happiness, it's easy, it's peaceful. And the book just shows you how to really come back to yourself and just come back to your center and go, okay, do I need to judge that person that's doing this? Or is that argument I've got going on with this? Do I need to, or can I just come from a place of love? It doesn't mean to say that you need to be a doormat, but it's just showing you how to really come back to what I think really is what life is all about. We're looking at little Stan playing with his thing. It's just, to me, it's just pure joy and pure love. And all the stuff we learn as we grow up kind of gets us into fear or into judgment. And so her book, she wrote it many, many years ago. It's a really successful book. And it makes perfect sense that now she's trying to become president, because I think the world needs a bit of love right now, especially in politics, which is not my kind of area, but it would be nice just to sort of like change the way things are from a different angle, because what we're doing seems to not be so great for a lot of people.
I don't think she's going to win.
No.
I mean, the last I saw, I don't think she was in the top 3.
I've not even looked at it, to be
honest, even if she doesn't win, she's probably getting the message out to more people. And thanks for recommending that. Now, before I go and check on him upstairs,
just make sure
gives a little tip for living with more energy and vitality. What would it be?
Exactly what we did this morning.
Yeah.
A 2-minute breathing exercise, Nadi Shodna. You can go on my YouTube channel, and there's me doing all these different exercises. A little 5-minute meditation, and then get straight out in nature. Listen to those birds whistling, look at the birds that are flying past. Luckily we can walk past a river in London here, and then just maybe smile at a stranger or a jogger running past. Just have a connection with somebody. Just like exactly what I think this kind of theme of this podcast is maybe just get a bit more connected to nature again, or life or yourself. So breathing, meditate, and get out in nature.
And mate, you've got retreats coming up, I know, and probably more in the future. The one you're doing, I'm not sure if this is going out before or after, but the one you're doing, I've been to the place where you're doing it.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
If you can think of like the nicest, is it veggie or vegan there?
Vegan.
The nicest vegan restaurant you could ever imagine, with 360-degree panoramic views of the sea.
Yeah.
And then kind of one layer down, cut into a cliff, and a kind of Instagram-friendly yoga studio with a sail that kind of provides shade, and then you just kind of got clear blue azure seas in the distance. It is incredible. It's a great place.
It's ridiculous.
Retreats, yeah.
And I will give a plug if that's all right. It's we're planning to do yoga teacher training there for 2020.
Yeah.
So it's a month away in that. For people, there's 2 people that come on it. People that want to come on a transformation, that want to learn these techniques and create a new way of life, or get out of the old patterns that maybe they feel they're stuck in, or they're looking for something, want to go a bit more deeper into yoga, meditation and spirituality. So it'd be more of a personal transformation. And then obviously for people that want to become yoga teachers and meditation teachers, so we're going to teach them for a whole month. They get to live with us for a whole month in that beautiful place you described, eat all the food, do the meditations and yoga every day. But then we'll also go for hikes as well. We'll go out onto the beach and do a lot of adventurous stuff, because I think that's fun and exciting just as much as being, doing all the meditation. So then you can become a yoga teacher and just go and spread that message. And I must say, being a yoga teacher is one of the best jobs for me in the world.
So if people go to your website, they get more details on that?
Yeah, just interact with me or send me a message. And the website's not built for the yoga teacher training yet, but that's the vision for next year. Yeah.
So it's Brett-Moran.com. Brett-Moran.com. Well done, mate. Great to see you.
It's always a pleasure, man. I love you loads.
Yeah. Thank you. That is it for Brett. Thank you so much for listening. I'm still in the sauna. Getting a little bit hot now. I'm actually soon going to be recording a whole podcast on infrared saunas. And I mean, I think part of the thing about infrared saunas is they don't get as hot as normal saunas. But part of the fun of that particular podcast is, I think, the hotter we can make it, the more fun it will be to listen to and to record, even if we are struggling a little bit. So I'm going to have to crank it up to the full power, which would be quite fun. But yeah, we'll do a full podcast on saunas soon. If you want to check out Sunlighten, you can look them up online. Incredibly low EMF saunas, and all the wood is just beautifully natural, not treated with any chemicals. I mean, this is the absolute gold standard of saunas, and I feel very lucky to be sitting in one right now, escaping the English winter for just half an hour or so, getting a little bit hot, but feeling pretty good about it as well. And hopefully my sleep will be better tonight as well. Thanks for listening. Next week, an absolute treat, because it is another definite friend of Zestology. Brett Moran this week, and next week, Max Lowry, the Made in Chelsea trainer. I mean, I think he's kind of moved on a little bit from that, but we do talk about Made in Chelsea in the podcast. And his big thing is intermittent fasting, which is one of my big things as well. I mean, I haven't eaten yet today, and it always makes me feel better when I don't eat in the morning. So Max Lowry is here next week, talking 2 meals a day, talking trekking up large mountains, talking a little bit of Made in Chelsea. And for now, have a great week, and I'll see you next time.